Hi there, and welcome to the final video in the active reading lesson. In this video, we will talk a little bit about two active reading skills, annotating and note-taking. Two of the most effective ways to stay active while reading and to retain information from a reading are to take notes and to annotate the text. Taking notes and annotating the text help you focus on the meaning of a passage. Understanding the meaning of what you read is the goal of active reading, and ultimately is the goal of any reading you do for a college classroom. First, we will talk about annotating, one of the most effective ways to actively read during the reading process itself. Annotating is writing notes in the margin of a text, if you're able, as you read. We will then cover note-taking or taking notes while reading and after reading. Taking notes outside of a text can be useful when annotating directly in the text is not possible, or when you need to take more notes than you can annotate in the text. Let's start with annotation. So, why should you annotate while you read the text? Well, ultimately, annotating helps you better understand the meaning of a text and help you understand the meaning of what you're reading, especially when it's done well. And how is it that it does this? Well, it highlights or isolates the ideas that develop the text's meaning. Through highlighting and note taking within the text, you can actually identify those ideas and help create connections that can help you further understand a text's meaning. And then also annotating gives you guideposts you can use when you are reviewing your notes and reviewing a text later. Now, what should you actually annotate? While annotating, it's important that you write in comments and questions that help you understand three aspects about your text, and this will also help keep you from annotating too much. First, what is the subject being written about? Take notes that help you answer this question. Annotate areas that help you understand the author's main point about the subject. And then annotate areas that help you determine what supporting details are used to develop and support the main idea in the text. Annotating for these three key elements will allow you to later go back through your notes and use those observations to better understand the overall meaning of a piece of writing and how that meaning is developed. Let's annotate this page from Synthesis, the chapter we studied earlier in the active reading lesson. The selection begins with several important terms. Feudalism was a key topic in the Synthesis chapter introduction, so it's definitely something to highlight and remember. From my pre-existing knowledge, I know that feudalism is an important part of medieval society. However, I don't know why fealty is so important to feudalism, so I ask a question to reflect on later. Another important term, common law, appears in the second paragraph. I've heard the term common law used before. Is it somehow connected to law today? I make a note to explore this question later. Since the class I am taking is a humanities class, I'll annotate and highlight several of the examples of art described in this chapter. So I will highlight information about the epic poem Beowulf, as well as other epic poems mentioned in the chapter. Finally, I notice that the Sutton Hoo site is mentioned in two different places in this selection. Sutton Hoo seems to be important to Germanic art, and there could be a connection between these two references, especially in terms of the connection between Christian art and Germanic art, so I make a note of that as well. Here is another example of annotation from a freshman composition textbook. Notice that the reader highlights important elements and takes notes on them. In addition to annotating, you can retain more and gain more from a reading by taking notes. Taking notes can be especially useful when you need to take more notes than the space in the book allows. The method you use to take notes depends on your purpose and your needs. One method for taking notes is the Cornell method. To use this method, divide a piece of paper vertically, leaving a blank section at the bottom. On the left-hand side of the paper, you will write keywords, topics, or ideas covered in the reading. Next to this, you will write brief shorthand notes. Finally, you'll include a brief summary at the bottom of the page. Your goal is not to rewrite the text, but to isolate important ideas and supporting details. In addition to Cornell notes, there are several other ways to take notes. You can write an outline of the chapter. This works best when what you are reading needs organizing or has a very clear and already established organizational structure. The outline can either help you make sense of a disorganized paragraph or keep track of a very well-organized paragraph. You can write a summary paragraph of what you read, making sure to include key terms in the paragraph. And finally, you can also draw mind maps, which can help you create visual connections between the topics covered in a reading. Annotating and note-taking are two methods that can help you become a more active reader during the active reading process. Both methods give you a way to record your observations, a reading's main idea, and its supporting details.